and this is the Handmade Podcast. Welcome to episode 5. Today we are talking about all kinds of new things. We have a new iPhone, which is the camera, and new projects coming up for both of us.
Yes.
So what are you working on?
I am working on Miss Winkle by Martina Bim, and this is a little shawl pattern, and I'm doing it in Miss Bab's Tart in the Across the Universe colorway, which is a Babette. And I've got about 14 of the little loops done.
So pretty.
And these loops are really cool because they stand up, they're twisted, and they stand up even without you really blocking them. And they'll stand up even better when you're blocking them. And I did do a little bit of a modification in the pattern because I'm just not crazy about continuous garter stitch. So I did 2 loops worth of stockinette stitch, and you can kind of see there. And so it's going to be like a striping effect kind of on there. And I think it's going to be pretty, and it made me happy, and so there you go.
It's beautiful.
And this is living. I saw some other podcasters do this. They show all the time what project bags, and that's always fun. This is living in my little garden project bag. It's one of my favorites, ones that I've made for myself. And this is, I have found a little strawberry. And I've been so sad I could not find another strawberry. I've looked every time I go out. I look for one of those strawberries. And I've even looked online, and I've not seen another strawberry like this. And so
that's crazy.
But I know I found it at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, either one, because
okay, so I'm going to start looking too. But that is the project bag that you brought to our very first knitting group the first time we got together to knit, and I freaked out over it. And was like, you have to make me one of those. Oh my goodness, I need that strawberry fabric in my life.
I love strawberries.
So happy.
So, yeah,
so
I love the fabric.
And that was springtime too, so it was like strawberries were in the market.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just thrilled.
You gotta love strawberries.
So I am working on, I just cast on this week. I am this is I feel like I've talked about it every single podcast episode. It's the cephalopod in blue ring octopus. And what's cool is you can actually start to see the rings of blue. The way she dyed it is great. I don't know if the lighting is doing something weird to it. But this is the Turnstile pattern by Erin Hartman, and we will link to everything in our show notes. But I'm supposed to knit the solid color for 7 inches and then start striping. And it's mostly, the whole thing is going to be striped. And what it is a long loop.
Infinity cow.
Yes.
It's an infinity cow. So did you do a provisional cast on?
I did, and I did it in silk yarn, so hopefully it's slippery enough to come out.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then I'm going to stripe with some hot pink left over from my Color Affection. This hot pink is Mad Tosh Light. And then the other color that's going to be at the other side from the blue, I didn't bring it with me, but it's silver. It's Sunnyside Ellen silk, and it's silvery, and it's the leftovers from my friend's bridesmaid shawl. I think I actually showed it to you last week when I thought I was working on Lee Meredith's Adventure Knit Along. That was great, but I slowed way down and didn't keep up with everybody else, and it stopped being fun, and I wasn't in love with what I was getting, so I ripped it out and I started again. And that's why I've talked about this every week. In the first episode, I think I talked about buying the yarn, and then since then I've cast on like 3 things and ripped it out. And it's held up fairly well. Luckily, I've only knit a couple inches of everything, but this I love. And actually, the whole reason I cast this on is because we were going to go to the movies and I needed movie knitting.
I know. It's killing me that I don't have any socks. The needles. I want to knit socks so bad, and I've been waiting for me to screw up a dye job, so I'll be like, oh, I have to keep this now. Here's me some sock yarn, and it's happened yet, but I thought if I don't screw up, then I'm gonna have to have a shop sample or something for something I'm gonna do and repeat. And so yeah, I've been waiting to cast on, and I've not used my new needles I've got.
Oh yeah, so tell us, you got new needles.
Well, I've told about them before, the ones I was thinking of, the double points in they're the collage squares in size 1, they're double points, and let me just tell you, I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about those because they are sharp enough to draw blood. I mean, they are sharp, and so I'm hoping that I will like them. I bought them because I've been having finger pain and stuff up through my shoulder and neck, and I thought maybe that would help, you know, when it comes time to knit something tiny like that. But yeah, I'm anxious to use them. I'm excited to use them, but I just haven't haven't cast on any socks lately, and I'm excited to. So hopefully by next podcast I'll have socks on the needles.
Well, and that was my thought, is this is actually perfect podcast knitting because it's just knit all the way around. And the socks that I have on the needles are the Jaywalkers, which actually I finished. I'll just jump right to that part and show you. But they were at the decrease for the toe, so they didn't make good movie knitting.
Yeah, no.
And my others, the charades that I've shown you before, they have a stitch pattern that you have to pay attention, that you slip a stitch and then you pass a slip stitch over. I can't do that in a movie theater. But the just knitting around is perfect. And so these are my finished Jaywalkers. Ooh, they look neon on screen. They are pretty neon. They are not the same size because I don't care. The first ones were a little tight across the very top of the, like the bend in your ankle. And I have fat ankles anyhow. I don't really have ankles. It just goes like leg, foot. My leg doesn't go in at all. And so I made the next ones a little bigger, a couple extra stitches, and then you might remember last week I had to rip back because the gusset got weird. I don't know what I did wrong. So I ripped back, but then what I figured out is that if I make a sock big enough to fit around the fattest part of my ankle, like when it bends into my heel, I also then need to start decreasing at the ball of my foot because this is a little too wide when I put it on my foot at the ball. And it's not that I needed to start decreasing the toe sooner, it's that like my toes are really long and they're significantly less big around than the widest part of my foot. So once I pass that widest part of my foot, I need to decrease down to like keep going around my very long toes. So I learned a bunch, but they're perfect house socks. They're really thick. I mean, like,
oh, they are,
because of the yarn weight and the pattern, they just feel really thick anyhow. And I wear socks constantly around the house. I'm always cold at home. I always have on like a sweater and long pants and socks and slippers. So these are now my slipper socks. I love them so much. The yarn is Socks That Rock in the, I think, punk rock colorway. I bought them at Maryland Sheep and Wool way back in 2005 or 2007. The pattern is Jaywalker from Grumperina. It is also from like 2007. So on Ravelry, I call these my old school because they're all things I've been meaning to do forever. So happy to have them done. I haven't finished a pair of socks in years, so this is a significant moment. Also, look at the bottom, the foot. Isn't that so pretty?
That's very
so pretty. These are crazy colors, and they make me so happy.
That's very adventurous for the first sock thing that you finished in years, because I tried that pattern with that hateful bamboo yarn that I have, and yeah.
Well, see, I finished Jaywalkers in a Christmas striped yarn years ago, but the feet wore out. Like I wore holes in them. And so I had done 3 or 4 pairs of socks, but just worn holes in them. So I knew I could do it. It was just a matter of doing it again. But having holes worn in your socks will just really put a damper on your whole sock knitting mojo.
Yes. I have been on Pinterest all morning and I found some really neat tutorials on sock stuff. It was not really darning, but it was just patching. There was a patch. You pick up and knit a patch and then just kind of attach the edges of the patch. So almost, think of a gusset where it's only knit on one. Yeah. So you pick up and knit a little patch, and
I need to look at that. So you have a Pinterest board, right?
I have a Pinterest board. I believe I missed it on Pinterest.
We will link to it.
Yeah, I'll link to it. And
yeah, let's talk about what you're working on before I go.
Well, this is what I'm working on. I finished some things, but
let's see them.
Yes. You want to see them? Finished things? Okay. I have finished a couple hats.
So Misty's dog is sitting on the couch now smiling at us, wanting our attention. It's very distracting.
Sorry, I have a big bucket down here and the other one's in the bottom. Okay. This one is the Winds Chief. I never know how exactly to say that. This is in yarn that I dyed last Christmas for some gift knitting for the guys, and I did this pattern then too. And I was really pleased with how this turned out. I thought it was a really pretty, some really pretty colors, really pretty men's colors without being boring. And so, yeah, I was nervous that I made it a little small because when you're measuring how tall it is, it seemed like it was easy to look at it one way and it was 5 inches, and then look at it the other way and it was 5.5. And I was supposed to do it 5.5. And when it looked like I could reasonably say it was 5.5, I went ahead and started the decreases because I really didn't want to be working on it.
So who's it for?
It's going in the shop.
Okay.
I helped my friend Nikisha out with a shop we have in Jonesboro, And so this is some shop knitting. So hopefully it will make someone a nice Christmas gift.
I love it. Yeah, it's really cute.
So yeah, so there's that. And then I don't know if you guys know the Caffeinated Knitting podcast with Caffeinated Gert and Crafty Alley, but they are doing a Hats for Kiddos drive. And so you can find them on Instagram, and we'll link to their podcast as well. But Crafty Alley she's here in Tennessee. I think they must be close to Knoxville. I haven't got the address to send this off yet, but they're somewhere in Tennessee, and they participated in something like this last year, but this year they wanted to keep it closer to home. And what they're doing is she goes out and does like a social services visit to children that have mental disabilities. I don't know exactly all the extent of that, but she wanted to take them all hats. And so it's not just her, it's their organization. And so there was like 300 kids or something that they needed hats for in various sizes. And so I made this one. It looks like it would fit, any size child, where it's got the ribbing and then the pink on there, and it's good and stretchy.
I mean, that looks like it'll fit my head, and I have a huge
exactly.
head.
It looks like it would fit anybody. So this will be a nice hat for any aged kid, and it'll grow with them too, I feel like. And they could, with it being ribbing, if it's a little too big, they can always just turn it up a notch, and so even that would be cute. And I wanted to do a pom-pom because, kids love the fun stuff. And so I found this, they wanted the stuff to be washable, so I found some acrylic yarn that I had in the stash, just enough to do just a little plain hat. And I wanted a pom-pom, and I found this fun stuff, but of course you can't cut this or you'd have junk everywhere.
Yeah.
So I wound it up like this on my fingers, and then did like a figure 8 tie.
Oh.
And
I was wondering, because it almost looks like a ponytail.
Yeah, and so I tied it down in there really good. So if they got an individual strand, they could pull that strand out a little bit, but otherwise this sucker ain't coming off. So, so yeah, it's on there really good. I think it'll be good and sturdy for...
I would totally wear that hat.
Yeah,
it is so cute. That is so cute. I love it.
So I'll be sending this to them, but go check them out and send them a hat. These don't take long to make, and the kids are going to love it. And they're giving away a ton of great prizes. You take one look at those prizes, you'll be like, yeah, I'll have one of those out in the mail in 2 days. Because, yeah, they have some awesome, awesome donations. Some of them's coming from their own stash. Some of it they're getting from, other people are sending stuff in. But they've got a ton of stuff to donate.
That's
and
awesome.
So, send them a hat.
I love that. That's so cool. So the other thing I'm working on is I got obsessed after we recorded this podcast last time. Misty had saved a photo from Instagram of Bitter Pearl's blue sand cardigan, and I've been following Bitter Pearl online for years, so I had seen it on Instagram and kind of fell in love with it, liked it, and commented, and then Misty showed it to me, and we started talking about it, and then we started looking at Ravelry together, and I went home like on fire for this cardigan. And and we will link to Bitter Pearls both on Instagram and on Ravelry. But then I went to the, because she knitted out of Plucky yarn, which I wasn't familiar with. So I went to the Ravelry group, which is so active and so full of great people. And Plucky knitter yarn you can only get when they do updates on their blog. And it's very like specific. These colors are available on these bases. But they have a huge D-stash thread of people listing stuff that's available. And the stuff goes fast on the D-stash thread. Like things will be posted 3 hours ago and they'll say, all sold, thanks. So I started stalking it. Kind of unhealthily, probably. And I got this awesome pink.
Look at that.
In Think Pink. And I am using, my stitch markers I'm using here are from Misty's Doctor Who kit. Yay. There's like a crown and a bow tie and a star and a teapot.
I've enjoyed using those on my hats too.
They make me so happy. Every time I get past it, I'm like, oh. And I was knitting it while watching Doctor Who, the new Doctor Who episode. So,
I'm so jealous. We don't have cable. We have Netflix and Hulu, and it's not on either one of them. The new episodes.
I know. Well, and
so sad.
BBC America isn't even on every like cable offering, so we actually buy it through the Xbox. You can buy the whole season, which is an investment for just the show. But we talked about it, and we were like, okay, this is our entertainment budget. Yeah, we're buying this because we love it.
Know,
it makes us happy. Too. It's a Sunday afternoon thing. So we have the episodes. You guys should come over. You and our kids. I mean, we have the tiniest apartment, so everybody would be sitting on the floor.
Nobody would care.
Right.
It would be Doctor Who. The kids would love it.
Exactly. Me and Jay were talking about that we should just have your boys over. Like, so you and Matt could go do something.
Oh,
and they could watch our
watch Doctor Who too. Are you kidding?
Maybe we'll have a little mini Doctor Who party.
There you go.
Okay, so this is Think Pink
I
in
love
Plucky
that
Knitter
pink.
Feet. This is her yarn, which I think is like 90 merino, 10 nylon. And then for the light stripe, I got Mad Tosh Light.
I don't know if you can see how
That's
it's
so pretty.
It is gorgeous.
I got the Mad Tosh in Silver Fox Light for the light
that's
stripe.
pretty.
And this was also somebody's D-stash that they had listed.
I like how you're not afraid to mix. Like, this is a single. And so it's just going to have a little bit of different look to it then.
Exactly. And I actually, I love that. I love to do that in a
I like
project
that.
because I did that in my color affection. I have plied yarns and single yarns. And actually, because I had knit with the Mad Tosh Light before, I know that it's going to hold up okay, especially at a smaller gauge. So then the dark stripe is this color, which is a different yarn. I mean, it's from Plucky, but it's Primo fingering. It has cashmere in it. And I think it's very similar to my my cephalad pods base. It knits up really similar. Actually, I have a swatch of it. So for the first time in forever, I made a swatch. Yeah. And I actually did it in 2 needle sizes.
Oh, he's got pink on there.
And I want to talk about it a little bit because I made a bigger, I think a size 6 and then a size 5. And you can maybe see the difference in the fabric. You can definitely feel the difference in the drape. In one, you can feel, or you can maybe see the stitches are a little bigger, a little looser. You can see more light through it. And in this one, you can see less light and it's a little sturdier. I decided to go with a smaller needle size because I feel like the fabric is going to hold up better. Because the bigger the holes in between your stitches, the more they'll rub together and the more they're likely to pill or felt. Now this is super wash, so it's not going to felt. But because it's a cardigan, I'm going to wear it over everything. And I know me in cardigans, I know I'll wear it constantly over everything. So I want it to last and to hold up well. So I went with a smaller needle size, but that gives me a much different gauge than the pattern calls for. So I wanted to talk about how you change a pattern if you have a different gauge. In case you haven't done it, it's not that scary. What you do is you take your gauge and you divide it by the pattern suggested gauge. And that gives you a number. My number was 1.16 because my gauge was smaller. It means I have more stitches per inch. So when I took my like 26 divided by, they suggested like 23 or something. I got 1.16 and then I did it again for the row gauge. And amazingly, I also got 1.16.
Oh, that's awesome because I know row gauge
yes.
that doesn't always come out the same.
And so what I did then is you can go through the pattern and take all the numbers, the cast on number of stitches, the number of stitches you have at this point, the number of stitches you have at all the different points, and multiply it by 1.16, and you'll get the number of stitches you should have at that point. So in doing that, I realized that I could also take the size of the sweater. So I need a medium in this blue sand cardigan. And if I took the numbers for the medium and I multiplied them by 1.16, I actually got the size for the extra large. So I'm just following the pattern for the extra large. I did not end up having to do a lot of math and changing it.
That's good.
And because it's top down, I can split for the sleeves when I'm ready to split for the sleeves. So my row gauge, it matters, but I'm going to be paying attention and I'm going to stop when it's time to stop, and I'm not going to necessarily do exactly what the pattern says if it's not fitting me properly. So I went through and I double checked that math. I went and I looked at the cast on number, I multiplied it by 1.16, and yep, sure enough, it was the extra large size. And then I went through a couple different places, like where it says for the bust measurement. And then this cardigan gets wider and wider at the bottom, so they have more and more increases. So it doesn't matter as much with your hip measurement, but if it was a fitted sweater, you would definitely want to make sure the hip measurement matched as well. But I'm actually going to probably take out some of the increases because I don't need the sweater to be really big and extra fabric around my hips.
Yeah, and it also, my problem with it, I think I'm going to join her in this and we'll do a little knit along.
We should do a knit along on the group.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So,
we just decided.
You guys should join us. We're going to knit the sweater. But I looked at several people's project pages, and on some of them I don't mind the curve in the back, but it also makes it go upwards sharply in the front, and sometimes that just looked wonky. And I thought that before I haven't looked at the pattern, bought the pattern, so I haven't looked at the pattern yet. But before I talked to Tara, I thought, well, I can always just block it a little more severely if it's doing something I'm not happy with, because that's kind of what it looked like on, you know, a lot of people didn't mind that, of course, but it looked like on some if they just blocked it really precisely and gotten that, you know, to come, that look out of it or whatever it was, I wasn't.
It's that there's short rows in the back so that you're adding length to the center back and not to the sides. So of course the sides are actually the front, so it's gonna like curve up, and when you pull that around you, depending on your own build and your own hips, that might be really severe in the front, like drop right away. Whereas if it fits you more so that's all on your back side, I don't think it's as obvious. So it also depends on where those short rows are. But I'm probably gonna take out the short rows because I don't really need a sweater to go down in the back as much. So we will talk about this on the Ravelry group, and if you want to change a pattern based on your own gauge, I'd be happy to help you do the math. I used to do that all the time at the yarn shop. People would come in with their gauge, and we would just do this simple math to figure out the new gauge. For a lot of sweaters, it's as simple as knitting the bigger size, but you just want to pay attention to all of the sweater's measurements. Especially if the sweater is fitted or has negative ease, you always want to make sure that it's actually going to fit your, not just your bust, but also like here. This measurement and your hips and your waist, because no pattern knows what your particular body does. So I'm a big fan of changing it for the gauge. And so the reason why my gauge is so off is because I picked fingering weight yarn, and I think it's knit in a sport or a DK.
DK.
Yeah. But I just, I don't know why I got onto the fingering weight, but I think it's because I was in the like, haze of buying yarn. and that's what was available. Right, that's what people had destashed. So the one other adventure in stashing I've had this week, other than those yarns, which would be plenty and way more than I normally get, is this pink.
Oh, wow.
This is also Plucky Knitter in Primo Fingering. This is a Hotsy Totsy, whereas this one is Think Pink. This one is Hotsy Totsy. And I will share a picture on the Ravelry group because I don't know if here you can see the difference.
Yeah, you can see
but this is kind of more my pink. And this is a little brighter. I love them both, and I had to just compare. So I had been wondering for the longest time which one I like better. Bitter Pearl used Think Pink, so I knew it looked great against the gray. But when I saw this one come up, I was like, I need to see that one. I have a trench coat this color, and if you've ever been to taraswiger.com, you know my whole website's this color. So it's like,
you just had to have that
I just
color.
really had to this color, you know, and I found a Malabrigo yarn in this color before and knit a hat out of it. Pretty sure I have a shawl this color. So, when I happened to wear the hat, the shawl, and the trench coat, and the purse, which is also this color, I had one guy at Blockbuster, so you know how long ago it was, say, wow, you just really like pink. And he gave me a look like I was one of those psychotic people that only dress in monochrome. I might be becoming one of those people. So, Hotsy Totsy, Think Pink, both on Plucky. This is the Plucky V and this Plucky Fingering, and I feel like they show the colors differently as well. That's quite enough yarn buying for me for a while. I will be busy with the sweater, and I actually thought today that my goal is to finish the sweater by Thanksgiving. To wear it to the family Thanksgiving, because I like to show it off to as many people as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so how about you? What have you, you have some yarn
I'm going to show what you gave me. Yeah. I was going to order for my birthday coming up some,
it's
yak.
Next Monday. You should tell her happy birthday next Monday.
some yak. And she's like, don't order. I have some. It's beautiful, but it's not in a color that I'm just crazy about.
It's not hot pink.
It's not hot pink. And so I'm like, because I had looked at one similar to this color online, and I don't know if it'll come across the sheen of this.
It's so pretty.
But it is gorgeous. It is just a gold color, but it's not flat at all. It looks just beautiful. It's a beautiful color. And it's, she doesn't have the tag, but it comes from Bayou Basin. Bijou Basin. I cannot say that. I can't even spell it. So, but yeah, and we were looking earlier to figure out what it was, but Tara thinks it's 50% silk and 50% either yak or bison.
Which I think is the same thing, because their
might be,
website
I
uses
don't
them
know.
interchangeably. You tell
So
us.
you tell us if you know what this is. Let me know. But I'm gonna research it some more.
And it's
see.
fingering weight, and I'm pretty sure it's a natural color. Like that was the...
Yeah, it probably is, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
And what it is I was at TNNA like 6 years ago, and I went to the booth and talked to the very nice fellow there, and he gave me a whole handful of samples, and I have since destashed them on Instagram like a year ago, and this one I kept because it was just so pretty. So when she started talking about it, I was like, oh, I have the yarn for you.
So yay! Yay! Since we're all talking about my birthday, let me tell you what I did. I cannot believe it. So I've been wanting to try signature needles. Who doesn't want to try signature needles? And there was nothing that I really am like, I want this for my birthday, except I thought, well, this would be a good time to splurge on some signature needles. So I had told my husband about it, and I hadn't got around to order them yet. And he asked me, have you ordered them? I said, no. And he said, well, go ahead and order them. I was like, well, I think I've talked myself out of them. He's like, I said, there's so many other needles I want to try. There's collage. Was it collage? It wasn't collage. It was carbons and hayas I want to try. And he's like, no, if you don't order those needles, I'm going to figure it out myself and order you 4 pair. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. So
you would get all the wrong ones.
Yes, he would get all the wrong ones. So I ordered, and of course, it's like, if you're going to order 1 pair, what do you get? I thought about getting double points, but where I've got those new collage double points, I didn't really want to, go ahead and order those.
So do you have them? I want to see
I don't have them yet. I'll show them to you guys next time, but I couldn't help but talk about them. I'm so excited. So I ordered a size 6, and if you've ever looked into the signature needles, they call them stalks. And so I ordered size 6 stalks, and they have like 4, 5, or 6 inch, and I got 5 inch.
Okay.
And then you order cables, but the cables are not interchangeable with other size. You have to order the size 6 cable for the size 6 stock.
Okay.
And you can, the only advantage to getting that interchangeable is that if you need a longer cable or a shorter cable, you can order it for that stock, but they don't, like with other brands, the cable goes for any of the needles. But maybe I've heard that once you screw these on, that they don't like work their way loose while you're knitting.
That would be great.
Because I've had, I think everybody has started with knit picks or something, at least at one point in time, and I've had that issue. And so I've heard that they don't do that. I've heard about everybody that owns a pair that you'll love them. I'm like, that's what I'm afraid of. I need to hate them. I need to hate them. So I'm excited. I ordered size 6 because I went and looked at that the cardigan, and it has a size 6. It had like 3 sizes, and I was looking at the between that one and the Olala cardigan, and
which is also a really cute striped cardigan.
It's really cute, and it's striped, and
maybe make that one next.
We'll make that one next. The let's see, Stacy from the Mustache Girls made it, and it's so pretty. And she has it. If you watch their podcast, she has it hanging on a dress form in the background of the podcast. So of course I'm reminded of it every time I watch them. But it was really pretty, but I think that for now I would wear one that was less form-fitting. More. I think I'd wear it more. Yeah. So I want to eventually I want to do something like that and do the Amy Herzog class that talks about.
Me too. Okay.
They've got it on Craftsy, and so maybe that'll be our next thing. After the first of the year or something, we'll start that.
Because I was just looking at her website, Custom Fit, where you knit a swatch, you put in your gauge, you put in your measurements, they generate a sweater for you. Wow. You pick like scoop neck, V-neck, length, fit if you want it like with negative V's or positive V's, and but the class, to be able to do that
might be a better thing to do, because it would be easy to just stripe that. And I don't know, I haven't bought that pattern or anything, but it looks like just a basic cardigan. They've added stripes to. Yeah, they've added stripes too. And I think there's a pocket on theirs. Speaking of pockets, did you mention the pockets on the blue sand? They are so stinking cute.
They are.
Outside of the pockets are a little bit saggy on purpose so that you can see that the insides are striped.
Striped pockets. We're excited.
We're so excited. I love that little bit of detail that makes it extra special. So yeah. Let me show you what I've been dyeing. Yay!
And it's beautiful as always.
These turned out really pretty. I don't have them named yet. On this one,
I feel like I've already shed on this.
Oh, it's probably me. So on this one, I started out, I love when mistakes go happy. So I started out with this, I'm trying to pull just a strand of it out. This lighter blue here. I don't know if the lighting's going to cooperate with this, but it's this really pretty lighter blue. I really liked it. It was a blue that I had dyed in that green hat that was, I had used it in that green hat, and I was knitting with that. And I was like, you know, that's really pretty. I think I'm going to dye just a solid color of that. And so I dyed it up, and I ended up with a speck of pink on it. And so I'm like, you know what, I can work with that. And so I played around with some sprinkling on some dye powder, and I did pink and blue on top of the light, and it turned out really pretty. I'm really happy with it.
I like it.
So there's that. And then I have if you guys are sick of seeing pink and green, that makes two of us, because I'm dyeing this up for a retreat that's coming up in locally here in Jonesboro in a couple weeks here in October, and it's the Naughty Ladies retreat, and the Naughty Ladies colors are pink and green. And so I wanted to be able to say, hey, look at the colors I've dyed for this is a Naughty Ladies color. And so I'm going to name it something to do with them. But I dyed this darker in the center, and then as it goes out towards the edges, it gets a little lighter. And so hopefully that'll be really pretty. That could be pretty as socks, but I think it could be really pretty as one of those Martina Bim, like a hitchhiker or something like that, or a yarn stretcher or something that knit diagonal like that. I think it would be really pretty.
It'd be gorgeous. Ooh, and what's the next pink and green one you have?
This is the Devil Self-Striping.
And did you say the devil?
The devil. This is the self-striping is the devil. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you've totally seen me say that.
There's the name of the episode.
Yeah, self-striping is the devil. And of course I had to spell it with a B, like Bobby Boucher, it's devil. And so yeah. So anyway, it turned out beautiful, and I'm very pleased with it. I'm very pleased with the color changes. They're not bad as far as going from one to the other. But I had my issue was, once I got it, I did the warping board fine. The first time you have to go, like when you do the turn to go back, you have to go over. If you're going from under to over, you have to go under over every time. If you don't do that same thing every time, it messes up. And so I did that messed up. So that was already a frustration. So I had to redo it all.
Right.
And then, but once I got it done correctly and took it, I made a mistake. Somebody told me, gave me a tip on don't take it off the warping board before you mark your stripes changes. And so I took it off the warping board and tried to mark my stripe changes that way, because this is 6 rows of dark pink, 3 rows of green, 6 rows of light pink, 3 rows of green. So it's not equal. And so I tried to it was hard to get the tensioning, measuring out with the same tension. Y'all should have seen me. It was not, I had my warping board laid in the floor. I had this stool out trying to wrap, it was comical. So yeah, if you'd have seen me trying to get this measured out right, you'd have laughed, because it was just.
So is the process getting any easier?
Hopefully with the tips.
Dyer's notebook?
No, it wasn't her. It was Julia. I want to say it. I can't pronounce her whole Ravelry name. Forgive me so much. Julie. It starts with a P.
Puccini.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, from Julia's Fibers.
Yes.
She's in the Starship. I love her.
Yes, she was so sweet. She's like, can I help any? And I'm like, I'll take all the help I can get. And I didn't feel bad for asking, because it didn't have anything to do with color. So any tips that you can give someone that's not giving away your trade secret, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Right.
And she offered. And so I told her all the mess that I'd made and what my problem was, and she very sweetly said, try this next time. And so she gave me several good tips that I'm going to try again next time. But yeah, I'm very happy with the colors, the pink and the green, and it's so tempting to. I might need a swatch, for the shop.
For sure.
Just knit this up. So I'm trying to resist, because the self-striping takes so much time, and I'm nervous about going to the the show anyway, because I really don't know like how much of this is going to sell. I don't know. This is my first show. How much do I really need to make? Am I going to be sick of this once it's, you know, I mean, am I going to have a bunch of left over and be like, barf? But
it's so beautiful.
It is very pretty, and I found a way to alter it that makes it look like Christmas. So if I really come back with all these, I can just over dye it and have a whole different color. And
well, and here's what you have to remember is that it's you look at it every day, so you're sick of it, but nobody else does.
Nobody else is going to be sick of it.
And if this is an exclusive for the retreat, people only get it if it doesn't sell at the retreat, and then you put it in your shop.
Yeah.
So it's not in your shop now.
No.
So people can't get it. So all the viewing public wants it desperately, but they don't live in Jonesboro. so yeah, they'll be excited to see it in your shop.
I hope so.
But yeah, selling your handmade stuff is always like that. It's so easy to get sick of it.
Yeah,
it's like,
and I think because I've made so many mistakes with it so far
but nobody else knows any of that. It's all new to them.
But here is, I've dyed the fiber that I got from Tara's mom. Yay! And I took it with me to this really fun Spinning Guild, Limestone Creek fiber guild that I went to. I've been to last year, and things have been so crazy this year, and I haven't gone, and for some reason I really dread going, but once I get there I know I'll enjoy myself, and I did. The ladies are so sweet, and it's so cool to drive up to her farm because they have gates, and she's got 19 llamas.
Ooh.
And they have gates, and the first thing I encountered before I even got to the gate was a peacock. It was beautiful. And then there was 2 more right there, and then you go on through, and I've got my window rolled down, and I'm taking pictures, you know, and I'm driving, and I'm seeing all the llamas, and their pens are open, they're roaming around the property. And I drive up to one, and he comes up to the edge of his pen, and he's looking at me like, well, hey. Yeah. And so I'm talking to him, and he's like sitting there looking at me like, I'll let you pet me if you come close enough.
Take video.
So I should have took video, but I was just like in awe and just took pictures. And then you drive on up to the house, and there was a little thing of trees, and there was like 5 or 6 of them just standing there in the shade eating. And
awesome.
So it was a really cool experience. But yeah, I dyed this up and took it up there, and they were like, yeah, that's really nice. And so they, as far as the fiber goes, and they like the color, and so I was very pleased with the feedback for that. So I'm going to dye up some more of this of the pink and green, but I'm going to do some other colors too. Yeah. So if they want it, it's going to be super limited, and they're just going to have to snatch.
So were they going to the fiber retreat?
Yeah, all those ladies will be at the fiber retreat. And if you're in the area, you really ought to come, because it's like $10 for the weekend. It's one of the cheapest things that you'll ever go to probably. There's going to be a few vendors. Did you know that, Lollipop Yarn, she's local to us, and she's going to be there for a day. So I'll have to like snag. I've seen people complain upon complain about getting cart jacked from her updates. Her updates go within seconds, and so yeah, literally, she only does self-striping sock yarn. That's all she does, but it's amazing. And so I won a skein last year in like Halloween colorway, and so excellent.
Well, now that I finished my jaywalkers, I can actually buy some more sock
yarn. Yeah.
Excited.
So hey, you can bribe us. We'll snag you some up if you really need it. So yeah, I take bribes, and I have
the yarn variety.
Of the yarn variety. And I have one more thing.
This your Psycho Rainbow.
Insane Psycho Rainbow. And so this is it. I have one skein of this up in the shop. This is my I called it Take 2. And this is it is eluding perfection though, because let me just tell you, I want it to be perfect so bad. And this, don't get me wrong, this is flipping amazing. I just can't. There's pictures in the shop of it, and it'll show all the sections. I have like 3 separate pictures for each sections of color, so it'll show all of the colors. But the thing that's imperfect about it is the reds. Like I wanted you can see the color changes in the reds. I don't know if you can see them on here, but it wasn't enough for me. I wanted a bigger difference between the reds. And when I say
it's
reds,
like pink and
it's
red
like pink
and red orange.
and then pink red and then red and then red orange. So there's like 4 different shades of pink and red right there. But I tried to even over dye it to tell the difference. And you can see a little bit of a difference, but it's just not enough. I wanted more of a
So I think that's interesting because I'm the opposite of a perfectionist. And when I dyed, I was like, whatever. I did not do soft striping because I'm not psychotic.
I am totally psychotic.
Right. But also because I know I'm not a perfectionist and it requires perfectionism. I think it's perfect. It's beyond perfect.
It is beautiful.
Is one skein enough to do a pair of socks?
Yes.
It's 100 grams?
Yes, it's 100 grams and 400 yards. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon.
Ooh, it's so great. I want it.
So
you should snag it before I log on and get it.
I have 2, but I only listed 1 because I wasn't.
You want to take one to the retreat?
I might take one to the retreat, but where I'm just so picky about it, I don't know. I'm gonna try it again, but I need to wait because I've got so much else going on. I'm gonna try again.
Well, okay, but you should let people buy it because they want it. People in our Ravelry group have already been asking for it. So tell her it's perfect.
It is beautiful.
And you should clarify, like, what she means about not perfect is because the colors, she had something in her mind and they aren't reflected here, but they're beautifully dyed. There's no weird anything happening except for in her own head. You got to put that away before you...
Yeah. So I have one more thing to show. I went to the fabric shop.
Ooh.
Look how fun this is. I don't even like bicycles and I love this. So look at that. Had to be a project bag. I don't have a interior for it yet, but I thought I might get like either a pink or red. I could do any solid color or polka dots, or you could really do anything with this, and it would be pretty.
The next one too, so they can.
This one I had to have it. I don't know if I might have to keep one of these, make one for myself, and at the very least,
it's like a rainbow of dots, but they almost look painted on.
Yeah, they look watercolor or painted or something, but they're gorgeous. And I got this batik.
Ooh, yeah.
To go in the interior, and I thought it was really pretty.
That is really pretty.
So. Bags coming soon.
Do you have any bags in your Etsy shop?
Just the Doctor Who.
The Doctor Who ones.
Yeah, I made a leap with Doctor Who and had, all those. And I'm trying not to force myself to be like, you have to get those all done right now. And I'm just kind of, I've got one finished here if you guys haven't seen those.
But when you order them, she finishes them and ships them in 2 weeks.
Ooh, I have
Oh, yeah, we showed them off last week.
Yeah. So
this one's not quite finished yet.
Yeah.
Right?
No, the only thing it's not finished, I don't have the little tabby on but it's finished inside and everything. That's why the needle poked me, because I'd already stitched the lining closed. But this is what all my project bags will generally look like. They'll have a little pocket in there and a little label. I'm so excited. I have labels.
And this is mine, which I packed all of my sweater in today. My whole sweater fits in that. We showed it, I think, the very first or second episode, but you can see better in this one because it's not dark blue. Yeah. That it has a different fabric, and then it has a pocket, and it's so great.
When I can, I like to do 3 fabrics.
Ooh, really?
I think with mine, I did 3. They had coordinating. Let's see, did I do 3? No, I just did 2 on this one. Okay. There was one I did 3 and really enjoyed doing that because I just flip-flopped from one to the other doing different things with the pockets and all that.
I have my measuring tape. I have my scissors. This is the biggest bag that I have. So I have my biggest project in it plus all my little extras, which were just floating around my house. Now they have a pocket.
I want to do
my husband really appreciates.
I want to do like a little coin purse size, a little zipper purse, because I've not managed to snag a little C-clamp thing I've got some on order, but I've not managed to snag myself one for my stitch markers, and I thought that might be a good
way to attach them to the bag.
Yeah. To kind of, because, not just attach them to the bag, but I'm bad to I wanted to do that C-clamp to attach into the bag, but I wanted a little coin purse just because I'm bad to want to take it from one bag to the other, because I only have let myself have the one set of stitch markers, and so I thought that would be neat to just throw it in whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Keep them all together, and then pass them from bag to bag when you need it.
Yep.
I love it. So I think that's everything. We wanted to tell you, though, we so appreciate you guys have been using the hashtag handmade podcast all together. Hashtag handmade podcast. That is awesome. Thank you
so much.
Do that some more, and then go check out the hashtag after you use it. Show us what you're working on while you watch.
Yes.
We
love those pictures.
Somebody took a picture of us on their TV screen,
I know,
which is
that was so
frightening.
cool.
I was like, oh my goodness, she had a big TV too. I was like, that's really big. So we super appreciate that. If you want to get the quickest updates on the awesome yarn, follow Misty Dot at Misty Dot on Instagram.
Yes.
And if you want to see pictures of coffee and puppies and my yarn or my knitting, I'm Tara Swiger. And actually, I want to tell you guys that today the Starship is open. If you've been following me, then you know that the Starship is my online program for creative entrepreneurs, people who have Etsy shops, knitwear designers. There's a lot of yarn makers. There's also authors, writers, publishers inside, and it's only open for 10 days, so if you're watching this when it comes out, then it's open now. If you're watching it later, sorry, go to my site, taraswiger.com. If the Starship's open, there'll be a big button on the front page. You can join it. If it's not, you can sign up to find out when it will be open. But I wanted to tell you guys, that's my big news today. I'm so excited. I'm doing lots of work.
It's a really awesome program. I can't wait till I am to the point to join her in it, but I'm just not ready yet. So
well, and it's mostly for I always say it's for people in the middle. After you do the initial startup stuff, as you know, starting up takes all of this things you have to think through once and then never again.
Yeah.
But then once you're doing it day in and day out, there's a whole nother set of issues that aren't just answer it once and you're done. It's they keep coming, how do you keep working? How do you keep doing all that? And actually, I in November or December have a program for people who are more at the beginning and less in the middle.
Oh, cool.
But I guess I'll tell you guys about it, or you just go to taraswiger.com. You'll find all the information there. And mistydot.etsy.com.
Yes.
And otherwise, you'll find links to everything we talked about at handmadepodcast.com. And that is the quickest way to get updates, to get the new videos. You can also follow us on YouTube or iTunes. It's slower on iTunes, but you can leave a review there. And we appreciate it.
Yes, we're having
so
such fun
much.
doing this. So thanks for joining us.
And if you want to join our knit along, all the details will be in our Ravelry group.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.